In this video, I'm going to break down one of my dark and psychedelic samples for artists like Travis Scott. But you can also use it to make like grimy boom bap stuff for artists like JID or J Cole. But yeah, let's not waste any time and hop right into FL Studio and break down the sample. Okay, so what you've just heard wasn't the original sample how it is here in the session, because once I was done with the sample, I exported it and sped it up and pitched it up so it sounds like what you've heard now. The original sample in the session sounds like this. So the first sound I added is coming from cassette keys from the phono loop, and it's just a default preset, and then I laid down these chords. They have like this very dark and spooky vibe, but the chord progression is actually pretty simple. So if we transpose this C note one octave up, you can see it's actually just a minor triad, like a C minor triad chord. And I just added the D right here because it creates a very dissonant feeling when you play two notes very close to each other. They're only one half step away. So this is actually a C minor triad. And I added this A note up here. It's not really a lot of music theory that goes into this. I was just messing around with the arpeggio, and then this A right here sounded good to me, so I kept it there. And then I just brought down the C one octave. And what I did then is I highlighted the entire chord, pressed Control B to duplicate it over, and pitched it up 5 semitones like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I brought it down 1 octave. And as you can see, it lines up. So these are the exact steps I did. The chord progression is actually like the most standard chord progression ever. It's like a C minor to F minor. Then because I wanted a smooth transition between the chords, this is why I added this C up here to transition between the C minor to the F minor. So once I had like the overall vibe, I just started building around it. So the next sound I added, it's from Teletone Audio and it's called Vespertone. And I actually just copy and pasted the exact same chords, and this is what they sound like. Then next sound is coming from cassette vibraphone. It's also by the phono loop. I really like the phono loop stuff. They have these very like vintage sounding plugins or VSTs, and I really like using them. And I just used this vibraphone to add some kind of like sprinkles on top of the existing chord progression. And it's actually the exact same chords. It's this C minor right here to F minor right here. And I added this D on top because it gives it that dissonant feeling, and I added this G on top because of the dissonant feeling again. This is what it sounds like. Then I wanted to add a bass line. For the bass, I used Trillion, and because I wanted to give it like a very raw, authentic, and live sounding feel, I decided to go for an acoustic upright bass, and it sounds like this. And it's also just playing the root notes of the chords. And it actually acts more like an accent sound at the beginning of every 2 bars. And then I added this sound right here. It's coming from cassette mullets, and it sounds like this. And it's just like some counter melody stuff. The most interesting part about the sample is the vocals. And I actually just recorded them into my iPhone. Like I was muting the sample on my headphones and then just screamed some random things into my iPhone. And this is what the raw recording sounds like. So yeah, I was really just making some random noises, but after I put like a shit ton of effects on it, it sounds like this. And so yeah, I'm gonna show you the chain right now. So the first plugin I added is Little Alta Boy to bring down the Foreman shift and turned up the drive. Then I added an EQ to cut some of the lows and some of the highs. Then the plugin which made probably the most of the effect, which is this H delay. And while the sound was playing, I was messing around with the modulation section right here, which created this cool kind of delay effect. Then the next plugin is this compressor right here from Arturia. Then I added S1 stereo imager from Waves to make it almost mono, another EQ to cut some lows and highs. Then this RC20 retro color preset is called Psychedelic Right, and it adds this digital sound to the vocals, then some flanges to bring it into its own like space, some Valhalla room for reverb, and shaper box which automates the pan from left to right. So then the sample was basically done, but I really wanted to add some more textures. So the first sound I added is from cassette mullets again, and this is what it sounds like. It has this very fucked up broken sound, but I really liked it as a texture. The next texture is from a plugin I really like using and I don't see a lot of people talking about. It's called Texture Mosaic. It's from the Phonoloop again. I really love using the Phonoloop stuff, and yeah, this is what the texture sounds like. And then another texture sound from Texture Mosaic again. This is what it sounds like. And then I found this cool cymbal loop in one of my one-shot kits or sample packs. It sounds like this. And this is what all textures sound like together. And then I just arranged it with different sections, took out the bass for some time, took out the cymbal loop for some time. And then one thing that you probably want to do too is stem out the sample at the end. So to whoever you send the sample to, they have access to all the individual sounds. And I also like to separate them with a hi-hat sound. So the person who's flipping the loop just has to uh, cut the sounds wherever they see the hi-hat, and it makes it very easy for them to flip your stuff. And yeah, that's it with the breakdown. I hope you learned something new. And if you need more help with making samples or beats like this, just DM me the word coaching on Instagram and let's see if I can help you out. See you there.